Hello, hello. Welcome back to Trading Weekly. How are we doing, Kay?
I'm doing great, man. Happy Sunday. It's 1 p.m. Today we had the daylight saving ended, so we ended up gaining 1 hour. But ev- every time this happens, it just throws off your schedule altogether. So it's gonna get darker at 4:50, 4:30. It's gonna be like pitch dark outside now.
Yeah, we had that last week, which was the time confusion when we were organising last week. Luckily, we got it sorted out in the end. But yeah, no, it's been an interesting week. Obviously, darker nights, as you mentioned, but I don't mind it. I think it's a good time to knuckle down and kind of learn a few more bits and just kind of cozy up and get ready for the winter ahead. But now in November, of course, if you hear some fireworks in the background, that's not my fault. That's someone else outside doing that. There's been a few going off today for some reason. Obviously, Guy Fawkes night on Wednesday. Do you celebrate that there? Do you have fireworks on November 5th, or just an English thing?
November 5th? No, November 5th we have elections here.
Oh, well, okay. That's a different type of fireworks, I guess. We'll get the ticker up on the screen here so we can have a little look here. Obviously, make sure you subscribe to the Trading Weekly on YouTube. We'd be very, very appreciative of that. We're just a couple of guys looking at charts, giving our perspective. So, of course, it's not financial advice. We just love to do it. If you learn anything or get any ideas along the way, then that's an absolute bonus, of course. Massive thank you to Wolf as well for letting us use the platform. We really, really appreciate your support. And of course, the last thing there is put your audience requests in the comments, whether you're on X, whether you're on YouTube, wherever you are. Then put the comments in there. We've had one already from Money Manage. Welcome back. NVIDIA, Rubric, new as well. I think we've had Rubric from someone else
Yeah.
pre-stream.
Yes.
So we've got quite a few lined up. So make sure you get them in nice and early, and we can get to them as soon as possible. But for now, we've got to jump into the slideshow. How was your trading this week, Kay? Before we jump into that.
So the last week was decent. I was still managing few of the trades that were wrapping up for the October. And then I did open a couple of rubric options, which expired worthless, so I ended up keeping the premium. And I've plan to continue doing this week as well.
Awesome. Yeah, from my side, I've just been doing some day trades here and there. I mentioned it obviously before the stream.
Yep.
In terms of my swing trades, I'm basically just holding what I've got. And obviously, markets at all-time highs. The swing trades are doing pretty well. I'm keeping those stop losses, fairly tight as well. So just managing them where possible. I'm not looking to get in any soon or so because we're going away soon. And you're going away soon as well. So we'll jump into that a bit later on. We might have a little bit of time off, but we'll definitely be ready back for the Christmas period. Right, let's jump into the slideshow. As I mentioned, it is November, well, 2nd today, but 3rd tomorrow when we start the new week. Yeah, it's November already. Crazy. The year is almost done.
It's too much.
Big week.
Yeah.
Big week last week. We had some big numbers. Nvidia up 10%, Google up almost 10%, Amazon up to 10% as well. So some big moves there. And SPY didn't really move. Maybe it did. I think it did move quite well. And then we've got some other names. There's Apple up 3.5%, Tesla up 2% there, and Microsoft, 1% down. But the big name that's down as well, which is Meta, they reported earnings on Tuesday after the market closed, if I'm not wrong, or
Yeah.
Wednesday. It was Wednesday, actually, I think it
Yeah.
was.
Wednesday was Meta, and Thursday was Amazon
Hmm.
app.
Yeah, it's a big day, big week it was. That's why I kind of sat out a little bit, did a few day trades here and there, but I didn't really get involved in anything else. But yeah, no, it's a big moves going on in the market for sure. Anything you want to point out on the screen here?
Well, I think last week was a textbook week for me personally in the portfolio because your Nvidia
Mm.
was up 10%. Amazon, I've been talking about Amazon for a while now, so that was up. So, and then Google, right? Those all plays that we have been talking about on the channel for a long time. And the key for Nvidia was it wasn't the earnings. That's why it was up. It was announcement of all the partnerships across CrowdStrike, Palantir, Uber, and many other companies when they had that event. And then Jensen Huang was in Korea talking about setting up AI infrastructure, data centers with collaboration with Hyundai and Samsung. This at least as of right now, it just seems like everybody is just spending a lot of capital or capex in building out these data centers. So we could continue to see Nvidia run for the foreseeable future because Nvidia's growth plan is massive from a demand standpoint.
Yeah, it's an incredible run that they're on, and it doesn't look like they're going to stop anytime soon. Are they 5 trillion market cap now? Is that right?
They did went 5 trillion. And the
It's
funny thing,
huge.
on the other side for Amazon, last quarter Amazon was everybody was they were not very happy with the AWS growth, but now Amazon just pulled off building out their own data center without using NVIDIA chips. So I mean, at this point in time, all these major hyperscaler companies is, I mean, it's just off to the races right now. And it's, I mean, you enjoy, make money while this is running up. There is no need to think about, hey, this bubble will happen, that bubble will happen. As of right now, it doesn't seem like it's going to end.
Yeah, as we've said many times on the stream before in the past, the trend is your friend, so might as well just ride the wave for now. We'll move on to the next slide. Of course, it's the free and greed index, sitting at 35, a nice modest 35, all-time highs, and still, fairly fearful, which is very strange. Do you think that's just kind of the fear of it being a bubble, or is it just? It seems
So,
very strange, this sort of level.
so my personal opinion, there are a couple things that are happening.
Mm.
The stock market run is not the mirror image of the economy. That's the first thing. um, I think that we should all just kind of realize it and write it down somewhere so you can keep looking at it. Right? Economy is little bit shaky because of all the layoffs that have been announced by all these tech companies. And generally, what ends up happening is how the big tech moves generally starts to trickle downstream with other companies as well. So the unemployment is a little bit shaky. We are still going with a 30 plus days of government shutdown, so there's a lot of political upheaval that's happening. um, but there are still some good news, right? I mean, China, USA, they finally kind of had a
Mm.
truce. They have coming up with some deal. Folks can debate whether it was better in Biden and worse in Trump, whatever be the case. That doesn't matter. Like, for us as traders or investors, all we need is those headlines for the stock to move. That's what we really care about, right? um so this is like it's a period where you know stocks are running all-time highs, but the fear is showing 35. Maybe this is the time to buy, because when it's in extreme greed, that's not the time you buy. So I'm just saying, right? So if Nvidia
Yeah.
runs up another $100 from here, it will become more expensive, and then you're like, oh, should I have bought at $202, right? I'm not saying buy Nvidia at $200, but I'm saying this could run. I mean, you have seen stocks running, man. It's just
Yeah,
how
the stock market is just one big emotional machine, isn't it? These numbers on the left, are they correct, Kay?
they are
It
correct.
feels like
So
the SPY should be up a bit more.
uh, at least on Seeking Alpha, that's the number I got. So seems
Okay.
like a pretty flat one. Let me double check on the. Yeah, it
I mean,
was it was
I,
less than, yeah, it was pretty flat for SPY. The put to call was higher last week, and it came down slightly. So even though we are still in the fear, the put to call went up. So the call options, there are more call options sitting there as well. So it's getting better. The VIX is still sticking at 16, 17, 18 level. It's not spiked up to 20 plus. Yeah.
yeah, awesome. People are not slowing down, that's for sure. We'll see what happens next week. Next week's a bit of a quieter week. There's all we've got is Fed speakers. There's nothing in the way of too big
There are
news, is there really? So yeah.
I didn't add the numbers for unemployment. We have JOLTS reports, we have ADP numbers coming out.
Okay,
So there are
standard
unemployment
stuff.
coming out. Yeah, the standard stuff.
Awesome. We'll move on to the earnings season that we're very much in. We've had the big names. It's now time to kind of come back down to kind of the smaller. I say smaller names, but smaller cap size, I guess.
Relatively smaller names compared to
Yeah.
$5 trillion companies. Yes.
Yeah, but there's still tons of names on here. I mean, on Monday after the close, we've got a big name, Palantir, found kind of crowd favorite there. Another crowd favorite, actually, Hims and Hers. Let's see how they're getting on, kind of revenue machines, see if they can continue on that path. Tuesday, we've got some big names. We've got Uber and Shopify, which I'm sure you're both you're happy with. Looking forward to, and AMD and Supermicro Computer, which you have brought up today as your stocks. I'm looking forward to hearing about that. Wednesday, we've got Robinhood, we've got App Lovin, which is a, a fan favorite as well. Yeah, I think that's probably it on Wednesday. Maybe Qualcomm. You looking at that one, Kay?
Yes, I actually, the funny thing you asked about that, I need to close my trade before the week, the start of Monday, because I'm in this freaking Qualcomm trade from last two quarters, and I need to get out before something goes south. I
Yeah,
don't expect it to be, but still, I want to close it before the earnings.
of course. No, I think that's wise words there. I'm looking forward to Snap, actually. I'm not really I don't use the platform, but I know lots of younger generation, shall we say, use it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens there. I was going to buy some kind of like long-term calls, leaps, whatever in that stock, but I'm going to wait until after the earnings, just in case to get. I mean, they always seem to kind of come down on earnings, which is always interesting. So if they do come down on earnings, I'll kind of evaluate that situation and maybe take a position in a leap there or something like that. And Thursday we've got DraftKings, which seems to have disappeared into the distance now. Big name here is SoundHound. I say big name, but popular name, should we say, is SoundHound. Been partnered with NVIDIA in the past, which is obviously good for them. Iris Energy, which you brought up last week, and that's probably about it. We've got Trade Desk, which is always interesting, but I don't think it's a popular name, I would say. But yeah, it's going to be a fun week for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And a couple other names that might fancy folks. Arista Networks on Tuesday. That's on the that's still on the AI play. We have a couple of dividend names on Wednesday, like McDonald's. I know ARM. A lot of people still talk about ARM. Some new retail favorites like Oscar, which is on
Oh,
Thursday.
okay.
We'll
Yeah.
be looking at, and Open Door, another one that may see some sort of a movement.
Wow.
So, yeah.
What a week. We've got Astera Labs as well on Tuesday, which seems to be
Oh,
quite a
here you
popular
go.
name.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there are, it's like from fintech to tech to dividend stuff. There's a wide variety. Oh, don't forget Marathon Digital on Tuesday after close, right under Beyond Meat.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, what an incredible week it's going to be. Let's pull this off for a second. Where's my mouse? There we are. So when you go into earnings, Kaye, what are you looking for? Did you trade at all, or you just kind of sit back and wait for things? I think it's important for people to know kind of our approach to earnings, I guess.
Yeah. So generally, I try to position a trade a couple weeks in advance to the earnings. So it depends on a couple factors, right? One is that I have been looking at that ticker for a while. At least I'm up to date on what's happening, what happened in the previous 2 quarters, what is projected for the coming quarter. So I will try to position myself for the quarter. Now, so as if you remember, you asked about Qualcomm. So unfortunately, I was in Qualcomm 2 quarters ago, and I kept playing the same trade again and again for the last 2 quarters. So I need to get out of that trade because I'm up 80-90% on that trade. So I don't want to risk going into the next earning, because my risk to reward is only 10%. Max I can make 100% on that trade, right?
Yeah.
Getting all the premiums. So I'm going to close that trade and completely get out. So I think that's one thing. You have to position yourself in that trade for the upside or the downside little bit before the earning week starts. So that's the first thing. The second of all is sometimes I also look at my schedule. It's some related because if you're working, sometimes you just don't have time. Like
Of
last
course.
2 weeks,
Yeah.
I haven't. I've been traveling for work, so I cannot keep the same level of assessment or tracking on this. So this season I'm just letting go this season completely. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, I
No, of
play
course. Yeah.
one earnings, I leave one earnings, I play again, but this is how I will play. And generally, once I track a stock, I know that this stock is something that we could see a breakout or a breakdown. I will try to position myself, right couple weeks, at least 2 weeks before the earnings trade. Whether I'm going a strangle, straddle, debit spread, credit spreads on the put or call side, or just outright buying puts. Generally, I don't get into puts, outright buying puts. It's a disaster.
I think it's an interesting approach from the options side of things. I think from my side of things, obviously I kind of trade shares mainly. If I am going to try and play earnings, it will just be almost like a YOLO position. If I'm honest, I'll just play a
Yeah.
very, very small part of my portfolio, of course, and just kind of it's a binary event. It either goes up or down. So I'll be essentially gambling on that one, for example, just for a bit of fun. Nothing more than that. But from a serious point of view, from a long-term point of view, if I have a stock, let's take let's say Palantir, for example, on Monday evening. If it goes up 10-20%, I'll probably evaluate what's going on, have a look at the next few quarters, and maybe just take a little bit off the table. Given the fact that we're quite high in the market as well. So obviously on the other side of that as well, if Palantir takes a 10-20% dip, and it comes down to maybe some technical levels as well, then I might think about adding that to the long-term position as well.
Yeah.
Technical things like volume profile, 200 moving average, and that's something I would look for. I think it's interesting we bring up earnings as well, because I think from a psychological point of view, it's very tempting to get in and do YOLO calls and buy shares just for the moment. And you can get, especially in weeks like this, there's lots of people reporting earnings. You can very easily get burnt. Of course, you can get lucky with a couple on Monday, Tuesday, or whatever. But Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is still very much an opportunity to lose all of those gains. So just be careful when you're out there, everyone,
Exactly.
for the earnings. Yeah.
And just to add, I just remember the third point is like when you are placing a trade for the earnings week, if you're doing the options, you don't let the options expire the week of the earning. You need to have at least a week to 2 week buffer.
Mm.
Otherwise, theta will really kill your trade. Because
Exactly.
so for example, let's say your company is reporting earnings on a Thursday. Basically dead in water, because by the time you'll be able to exercise the option will be Friday morning. So it could lead to, I mean, there are a lot of chances of assignments and just the trade going south for you. Even though you won you had the right call, you won the direction, you won everything, but when the call opens, you're suddenly like in a loss and you're trying to get out of that position.
Just panicking. Yeah, at that point. No, I think that's a very interesting point. Theta decay will kill you.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get back into the slideshow then. I think it was an important kind of message that we wanted to kind of touch on there. We'll jump on to the next slide. This is the SPY and QQQ for the week, or for, well, now, price action. We'll kind of glaze over this. Obviously, we're kind of trading at all-time highs. They're about a bit choppy a week last week for SPY. I think that's normal with the kind of whatever kind of news things that happened. Obviously, all the earnings that happened as well. I think what's important is that it just kind of continues plodding along and making higher highs as we kind of go through this bull market, go through this trend. But if we are to take a bit of a dip, I'd be looking at the 674 level for sure. That's just where that kind of second gap is, as you can kind of see on there.
Yep.
You've got the 20 moving average sitting there as well. And a lot of volume is at that level as well. So if we do kind of come down, that's the level I'd be looking at to kind of, level of interest. I probably wouldn't add there, for example. But on the Qs, we can see on the right side here, it's on the weekly chart. We have broken this, what was that, 619 level. So obviously the next push is to 677, which, 677. So that would be an incredible move if we get that. But of course, time will tell. Anything to mention on these charts before we move on?
No, pretty much you covered everything. I think for us, we basically all are targeting for that pullback, for the gap fill to happen, the SPY, and then we can make the next leg up for at least the last 8 weeks of 2025.
Yeah, finish it strong. It's been such a strong year already. You can see on the right side here, 2025 began around about here where the cursor is. Obviously a big drop in April, and then nothing but upside since. So yeah, it's been a very profitable year for many. So just be aware of that. The next slide, we have where to find us. Kaye, I'll let you go first this week.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm on Twitter. I post daily content there. YouTube, we follow up with the trading videos. Substack, I often write. I actually started a new monthly series for helping you become an investor and a trader. So it's all the examples, and my latest article is free for everybody to read. So you can go ahead and subscribe and read that. Basically tells you how to position your trading and investing engine to work together for your wealth building. And I share examples throughout the articles on specific trades I took, on how that's helping the long-term portfolio.
I think it's very important you find that balance when you're trading and investing at the same time.
Yep.
Yeah, you can get that at InvestK on the Substack. You can get the other socials there as well on X, and obviously on YouTube as well. I'm sure he's got a few videos coming up for next year. In terms of me, you can get me at SeanTrades_ on X. Of course, I post daily charts pretty much. And on YouTube, I released a video yesterday all about kind of stop losses and a ton of examples around that sort of thing. So if you're into that kind of trading evergreen content, then go ahead over there onto my YouTube channel. We do appreciate it. Let's move on to the next slide then. Oh, okay. Yeah, I completely forgot about this. I don't know how I won this, but yeah, Grab was up 0.33%. Unfortunately, Iron was down 6%. So it's another loss for you, unfortunately, Kaye. So yeah, 18-10 overall. Yeah, we'll see what happens this week.
Listen, I'm just happy I hit the double digits.
Yeah. What we've got 8 weeks left of 2020. Yeah, it's not possible. Unless you win every single week, you might be able to tie with me. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's a little bit of fun, of course. We don't pick these picks for the week. We pick them for kind of longer term kind of thoughts, mostly at least. But yeah, we'll move on to the next slide, which is my pick of the week, which is for some reason it's cut off at the top. But yeah, This is Neo. I haven't brought this one up for quite some time actually. It's because it's been kind of stagnant and it had a big move up, and then we're kind of setting up nicely here, which is why I wanted to bring it up. We've got this zone between 650 and pretty much $8. I like it in the zone because it's kind of price action has been kind of steady-ish. You can get not very steady for Neo generally because it's a very volatile stock, but it stayed within this zone. We had a bit of a scare here, a bit of a gap fill actually, technically, I guess, down there. But we had some really good news yesterday. November 1st, obviously, the first of every month is delivery details for most car companies. And you can see in the top left-hand corner there, company achieved new record high monthly deliveries, which again is a great headline, of course. But diving into that a little bit further, we've got a ton of over 40,000 vehicles delivered in October, which is increasing 92% year over year. And of course, we've got 241,000 delivered year to date, which is incredible, of course, increasing 41.9 year over year. You expect that to be a bit higher as well in the next, for November and December. And cumulative deliveries reached almost 1 million as of 31st of October. I'm not sure. Lots of people are saying we'll get that million before the end of the year, which is possible, but I'm still quite apprehensive about that.
You're still skeptical.
Yeah, it's got to have to be pretty. It's got to be about 45 each, something like that, 43, 44. In the next, I mean, it's definitely possible. Of course, it's Christmas season, and typically car sales do get bigger at that point. But I think it's going to be tough for sure. But moving back to the chart, I think we're setting up nicely. We've just kind of touched on the 20-moving average and bounced off of the 50-moving average recently. Let me just move our faces, and you can see the MACD is actually looking really juicy. Now, I don't really use this to trade, but I kind of use it to kind of confirm a possible trend. You can see we're trending up in the right direction, higher highs, higher lows, etc. But this MACD, this yellow line kind of curling through the green line and the histogram kind of coming level just looks really nice. So I'm looking forward to the price action this week in Neo. I do think it'll be positive. How positive is yet to come. What are your thoughts on this one, Kaye?
I think the EV names in general have taken like a back seat in terms of the momentum, right? I think 2 years back everybody was talking about EV. Now we kind of shifted towards more AI and robotics and all that. But that doesn't mean that this area is dead. And I think clearly the growth of 92% and 41% year over year just keeps showing the strength. And um, uh, also, I think there are just more players. Like back in the day, you only had Tesla as a dominant force. Now you just actually have a lot more players and options to trade. I'm not expecting this stock to go from $7 to $100, but if it goes to $14, you have doubled your money,
Yeah,
right?
100%.
So there are always asymmetrical options. Not everybody has to be a $1 trillion company. You can still go from a 15 billion to 150 billion, and that's like a massive upgrade to the stock price, right?
Yeah, and one of the targets for Neo this year was to be profitable essentially by Q4. If they keep posting these numbers, then it's very possible that they do that.
And I think if you are positioning yourself, because you saw what happened with the most of the stocks that were not profitable and they were aiming for profitability, as soon as they hit profitability, the stock just takes off.
Oh,
And
100%. Yeah.
I remember when Neo came out, at the peak of the excitement, Neo was trading around $35-$40.
Higher
So
than that, $60 it was at one point.
$50, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So what is it to say that if they hit the profitability and their growth is they are growing at these double digits, newer markets are opening. There is actually China and Canada are having a conversation about reducing the 100% tariff that the Canada has on Chinese EV. Now think about that. That actually impacts Neo and BYD, because that's another market which is completely closed out to those car companies. So right now, Neo is only operating in Europe apart from China. If Canada opens up, that's a massive market.
Yeah, maybe one day we'll see what happens there. No, really good things coming out from Neo. We finally turning the corner. Of course, if you sell cars, especially expensive cars, and the main brand, that turns into revenue, and that's what they want essentially. Besides all the other stuff they do as well with the kind of batteries as a service, of course, and the kind of grid network that they're building infrastructure-wise around China. So massive things. I've actually lost connection to the chat. Am I still okay on the system? Am I live? Am I good?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear
Yeah.
you.
So you're gonna have to run the chat for me, unfortunately, because I can't
I
see it
do
anymore.
that. Yes, we
It's
got
just
few
taking me
names.
off.
Let me
Yeah.
just take those
But
names.
obviously, that's my stock. Of course, we're going to move on to your stock in just a second. Are you okay? Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm just looking at
Awesome.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, I'll
We'll touch
just cut
upon the
off.
chat a bit later, but okay. So I'm going to keep it very brief. It's pretty straightforward. You have SMCI reporting earnings. You haven't really heard from this company um, lately, right? I mean, this used to be one of retail favorites, SMCI, talking about NVIDIA chips.
But
And
before we get into it, let me just change the aspect ratio because you can't see some of the numbers here.
oh yes,
So I'll just take it off the screen 1 second just so people can kind of see
okay,
the numbers. I think you might have just cut it off when you added it to the.
most likely, yeah, most likely.
Bear with me just 1 second. There we go.
It's okay.
That should do. Sorry to cut you off there. Start again.
No, this is
You
much
can see
much.
the numbers now. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So we haven't really heard much from SMCI after their debacle early in this year, where they were about to get delisted. The stock has, it gained momentum. It tried to hit the 60-65 level, and then basically sold off, creating a big gap down. But pretty much has been in this range of $40 to $55, and hasn't really been able to break through. However, if you notice that we have for the upcoming earnings, it's a very bullish momentum undertone. We have 151,000 call options open as opposed to just 32,000 put options. That's massive just for the earnings week itself, which shows bullish undertone. Doesn't mean the stock will go up. The stock has about 15% actual move, so looking at about $8-9 for plus minus. So if I am looking for an upside potential, what I want to see is first breaking the equal highs from the October, where you probably can't see because our faces are there, but the 52 the 55 $56 equal high from early October, that's our first break that we want to see, which basically if you add $8 to the current price, it takes you to $60. So that should break that. Now if they end up announcing more partnerships, and because by the way, I don't know, a lot of people know, but SMCI actually partners with CoreWeave. So when they are building these data centers out, SMCI actually has a lot of play going on, and that's not visible to a lot of people. But that's what's happening. So they are partnering with CoreWeave. So as the AI data center starts to ramp up, guess what? CoreWeave will continue to engage SMCI. There was another company I forget, but so overall, I'm pretty bullish. I think our first level of resistance will be the 63.59. We have an opportunity to break with the current announcement if something happens to the downside. We will hope that the stock is able to sustain the 20 and the 50 SMA. If not, then there is a 200-day SMA. 200-day SMA is right around the corner as well. So that's the play that I'm more on the bullish side of the play on SMCI. It might not play this season, but again, this is for me. It's a swing trade, which I've been in this for a while.
No, I like it for sure. It's been a bit of a range, a very big range between like 30 and 60.
Yeah.
What were the kind of all-time highs on this one? Obviously, we can't see it on the screen here.
Let me see if
I
I
remember
can.
it being a lot higher than this.
Oh yeah, because remember it went through a split.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Right.
So
Okay.
post split it was 122.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's essentially halved almost. Pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I like it, especially you spoke about that kind of $60 area. If we do get above that, then if you drew a line from this high
Yeah.
across the highs, you can see here. Obviously, I'm a bit more of a trend line based trader. So if we can get back above 60 and maybe come back down and retest 57, 58 with a bit of kind of post earnings volatility, then I would definitely like that for a potential entry there. We've got lots of moving averages underneath, all of them in fact. We've got the RSI obviously down here at 50, as I've kind of pulled up on the screen there. Then we can now move our faces back. So yeah, everything's in right place for SMCI, and obviously the kind of logical side of things, as you mentioned, sound pretty good as well. So yeah, I like this one for sure. I'm glad you brought this one up, and I'm sure a lot of people watching, even though I can't access the chat, maybe someone's talking about it.
No, I don't think any.
Okay, well, maybe they will a little bit later on. Write it down on your watch lists, everyone. But no, I think that's a great pick for sure. We'll see who wins the week. I've got Neo. Kaye's got SMCI here. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Right.
I feel naked without the chat. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, so let me
run it.
walk you through the first sticker. Whenever you're ready, we'll go in the order of the requests we received, and I don't know when we got the message from Carmen what stock we are talking about. So I was talking about SMCI, and Sean was talking about Neo. So I'm not sure when you posted that comment.
Yeah, that's
that
when I tried to type Neo
Okay.
for them, and obviously it just logged me out. So I think at this current stage I am logged out.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I got you covered. No worries. So whenever you're ready, our first stock is NBIS.
NBIS. Yeah. So I actually did a bit of research on this one. Well, I say research, chart analysis on this one earlier today. Right, where is it? There we go. Just very simply from a longer term point of view, I've drawn a bit of a trend based Fibonacci here. I know you like this stock, so I'll let you obviously talk about it as well. But just from the highest volume point, so I just kind of took it from there, took it obviously to the highs, which is what you typically do, and then the most recent vicious low. And then obviously it kind of populates these levels that we have, and it's kind of respected them. If we zoom in a bit, it's kind of respected them so far. A bit of a bounce off of here recently, and a kind of a push through this 130 level, which looks pretty juicy. You could also add a bit of a trend line here as well. It's kind of breaking out the trend line, which is quite nice. Where to get in? It's tricky. I'd probably monitor it for the next couple of days and kind of go from there. What are your thoughts on NBIS? I know you like it.
Listen, man, it's a last 1 year the stock has returned 511%. So I'm not. I totally agree with you. It's like I don't know where to get in as well. But from a short term standpoint, I think uh, we have a nice bounce at 20 SMA for at least 5-6 touches we have. So that seems like a support that I guess buyers step in a lot more. So I will definitely be targeting that for a pullback and a bounce. I might want to get in at that level. Then we have also seen bounces from the 50 SMA, which is around the $102 area. Right, exactly. So it's
It's hard,
tricky.
isn't it? Yeah, it's very
It's
hard.
tricky. Yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
problem.
you could, if you're feeling. I don't know when the earnings are. I think it's on the
I can tell
11th
you.
of November here.
Yeah,
There you go. The earnings are the white line. I might change that to a bit
yeah.
more of a bluish line. Yeah, so the earnings are there just around the corner. But I mean, typically with the kind of trend line breakout, you would buy the close of the first candle, which is now. But obviously, like you said, with the move it's made, etc., it's very tricky to buy that. And even if you did, for example, buy that, then your stop loss would obviously be below the most recent low, which kind of coincides with the 20-moving average as well. It's 11% stop loss. It's pretty big, but it's kind of the risk to reward that you're kind of dealing with here. And obviously, every trade is different. You might like that. I personally think it's a little bit too big, but of course, if you're trading, yeah, it's just tricky. I'm just going to try and sign back into the chat. If you lose me, then I'm sorry, but I'm just going to.
Okay, yeah, give it a
I
shot.
should just work. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm good. I'm back in the chat. But yeah,
Perfect.
we'll move on then. What's we move?
Next is Rubric. I think this is another play that you are pretty excited about. Rubric.
I have been. I haven't traded this one for a couple of months now, just because I got stopped out at this point here on the screen, which is really frustrating. Well, I don't know where exactly, but it was this section of candles. Since then, obviously, it's kind of traded, kind of came back up to this zone. Let me just get rid of this Fibonacci. It's kind of clouding everything. It's coming back up to this kind of blue zone. It rejected from there and kind of went back down further. You can see we've done a little bit of technical analysis. I imagine last weekend. We must have talked about last weekend, where I said we could possibly get in here with the kind of stop loss down here. That would have been trickled out. That would have been a negative trade. Luckily, I didn't take that because that's not really my setup. But yeah, I know you want to talk about the stock. What are your thoughts in terms of Leap? Maybe, who knows?
So the key with Rubrik right now, Rubrik is actually positioning to be one of those asymmetrical bets that we talk about. And the reason is that they are using a lot AI features in this in their products. Now, I haven't done a lot of research into it, so I don't want to comment on that. But just from a general sentiment, is that their cloud version and their product is like they launched something called Agent, uh, AI Agent Cloud, something on those lines. So there's a lot of momentum that's being built behind the stock. So that's one on the positive side. So the stock is still trading below the 200-day SMA, and then it's right smack in the middle of. So if you actually draw Fibonacci on this one, it got rejected at the zero point 0.5 fib. So what we want to see is we want to see it break that and sustain it. Now the earnings will be coming up 12:10, where you have 16 analysts with an up revision, and the expected revenue will be 320, which they reported 309 in the previous quarter. So we could see some chopping going on until we as they build up the momentum, and you're seeing a lot more social media push by this company as well. So keeping all those things in mind, this is still I think undervalue play as of right now. We could see those highs of 100 plus, if they come out with some sort of an announcement, a partnership of that sort, or major deals with some major players.
Yeah, so it's interesting. You say the Fibonacci there. I've kind of drawn out on the screen there. You're talking about the 50% line, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's there. You've also got the kind of resistance and support at that area as well. It's kind of broken down on Wednesday, coming back up and retesting it. It's going to be interesting to see if it gets the strength to go through there. This blue line is the earnings that you're talking about as well. So it's still quite a way out. In fact, a month almost exactly. So
Yeah. So this is an ideal play. Like we talked about, how do you position for an earnings play? This is the time you position for an earnings play. So for me, the outlook seems like it, with a little bit more research, is seems bullish. There's a bullish undertone going in the earnings because you have up revisions, the revenues are going to increase, the EPS is going to improve. Still, it's not a profitable company. So with all those things going on, there's a lot of social media push on building out the reputation for the company and just for folks to know about the company. So that's why I think it's an undervalued play, for the short to mid term, I would say.
Awesome. Right, let's move on to the next one.
ALAB.
Astera Labs. This one's come up, I think, 3 out of the last 4 weeks. You can see the analysis we did, I guess, last week. I was expecting it to kind of travel a bit more sideways and perhaps have a breakout at this point, but it tried it this week. It tried the breakout on Friday, I guess. Got rejected, come back down to the moving averages here, which could be an interesting point for some traders for sure. Could be potential time to get in. But this purple line is actually earnings, which is Tuesday, I believe. Yeah, Tuesday. It says at the bottom there, Sean. Yeah, I've still got to wait for it to kind of break out of this wedge and see what happens after that. That's the only feelings I've got on this. Do you want to talk about this one?
No, I think
Not
pretty
so much.
much you covered the same thing. If you're looking for a break, you want to make sure it breaks that trend, retest, and then make the next level.
Exactly right. Okay, move on then.
There's NVIDIA.
Video. We don't get this one much, do we?
I mean, the stock broke 200. I mean, like, so what you're seeing,
Yeah.
so yeah, the funny I don't know, I forget who brought this up. Let me see who brought it up. It was
Money manage.
Money Manage,
Yeah.
yeah. If you actually look at the chart for Nvidia, it has this pattern of consolidating, which is basically barcoding and then breaking out. This might be the breakout that we have been looking for, because the stock has been in this trend or in this barcode from like mid July, end of July, going all the way to this recent breakout. And if you actually look at the charts for the previous segments, you see a similar trend on this one, which is consolidation and then expansion. And there are very good reasons why we could continue to see this leg up higher. as we talked about earlier in the stream, is they announced all these partnerships. What does that do? It helps those companies. It helps Nvidia. Nvidia's CEO is out and about making new deals across the world, so not limited to United States, and that helps fuel the sentiments, positive sentiments for the stock. So listen, I wouldn't be surprised if we actually end up getting a Q4 run for November, December, and Nvidia ends the year with $270-300. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, I think if anyone's going to lead the market, it's going to be Nvidia, isn't it?
Exactly. Now you might say, well, it's already a $5 trillion company. Listen, uh, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, they have OpenAI's CEO Sam Altman had a interview or on a podcast with Satya Nadella the other day, with Brad, is from the investment company. He asked, so how is a $13 billion revenue company making commitments to spend $1.4 trillion, and that triggered him. But the point is that it's the sentiment underneath on what is going to happen in the future. That's how it works. Most companies, they get rewarded on the stock price on what are they projecting in the future. So because stock market is future forward looking, right? So that's what we are playing with.
Exactly right. And you can see from a technical level as well, they've got the kind of trend line going across the tops there on this kind of run since June of last year. We've just made a breakout of that, obviously, this week just gone. Earnings is the blue line, the big vertical line flowing through the screen there. That's the 19th of November. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there in just a
And
few weeks' time. Yeah.
and just one thing to add before we jump on to the next one. If there is right now, there is still no clarity on the China and Nvidia. It's still banned. If for some reason from now until the next couple of weeks we see an announcement when China is going to go buy Nvidia chips, I think that is going to push the stock to the stratosphere.
Yeah, for sure. Always interesting to see what happens there with China.
Next is NU.
I haven't had this one for a while.
This is a fintech, right?
Yeah, it's the South American fintech. Last time I checked this, it was really far down, so it seems to have come back.
Yeah.
I don't know when I checked that though, because that
I think
been,
for me personally, just by looking at it,
yeah.
it has to break the equal highs from September. If it doesn't break that equal high from September, I think we could continue to see a downtrend. So that's basically going to be a textbook play on this one. Let it break the equal highs, come retest, and then you get in. Yeah,
Like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean they post earnings as well on the 13th of November, so they're just around the corner. Earnings has been a very interesting event for them in the past. So this is positive earnings. This one looks like it's negative and positive at the same time. Definitely negative. Positive but negative. Interesting. Yeah, so just be careful if you are trading this around earnings for sure. Yeah, we'll move on.
next is up.
Wheels up. This one comes up every couple of months, doesn't it?
Yeah,
The TA on this doesn't look great because it's now 137. When we spoke about it last, it's probably sort of this area, 165. Definitely one to stay away from for sure, unless it gets some crazy volume and it starts to move up from that volume. But you can see on the bottom of the screen there, the volume is depleting throughout this whole move that we can see. So just be careful with these names. Unless you get a big volume and you start breaking some technical levels, then just stay away, I would say. Especially the market that's going up,
yeah. Next up is Meta.
So Meta was down 12% after earnings, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah,
And of course, I don't know where these highlight sections have come from. But of course, on Friday, it kind of came back up a little bit and then really closed, like kind of really red, to be fair. So do you hold this in your long-term portfolio at all?
yeah, I do.
So what's the kind of area you're looking to add, if at all?
I am so for me personally to add to Meta, I'm looking at for these gap fills to happen. So the first gap from here would be about 6% down, it's about $37, looking at 611. That's the first gap. And
This
the
one?
second gap, that would be the 557 level, which is about 15%. Doesn't mean we'll get it, but I'm only interested if we actually get those levels.
Yeah, and all the time it's I mean, it can quickly rebound, of course, but all the time it's below the 200 moving average. It gives it a little bit of fuel to kind of switch that trend and maybe go down to the negative side for a little while.
Yeah.
I didn't see the results of the actual earnings report, but I'm guessing advertising has slowed down.
No, I
Just
think the issue with usual with Meta was the just the expense that they are having because of the whole AI build out. I think
right,
that was
okay.
the primary reason, unless I'm wrong. Um, yeah, so they are saying tech giants brace to spend billions more in capex as AI race heats up.
Another thing to look out for is the RSI. So the RSI is already, after 2 days, it's down to 26. So if we start going down to 15, 10, 5, then that's when you look at kind of
Yeah,
buying,
I
essentially.
don't trade, yeah, I don't trade Meta. I just
No, neither
basically
do I.
add on the dips to my long term portfolio. But because I have such a low cost basis, I need more of a discount to buy Meta, honestly.
So I don't trade or invest in it at all. I've never
Okay.
had it. I don't know why. I just never been interested in it, to be honest. Okay,
I
what's next?
mean, you don't have to invest in all the max and
No, of
some
course. Yeah.
few more than the other. DLO next is DLO.
Okay, yeah. So this one, we seem to have done a bit of TA on it recently-ish. Obviously, we had a bit of a wedge here coming from April and August in terms of the levels that we produced. Coming back down to retest, it kind of bounced off of the last retest and came up, kind of failed at the previous highs. Coming back down to have another go at this trend line. But I'm guessing that is earnings there, just around the corner. So it might be worth waiting for that potentially, just because at this level it seems very nice, but just a couple of weeks your position could be crushed, or you can be very very happy. So, but if you know about the company and you think there's possible good times ahead for them, then yeah, it's not a bad place to add in my opinion. But of course, I'm not getting
So
anywhere near this.
would you wait for the bounce, or would you won't
I
put?
would
Go ahead.
So I would get in pretty much now, um, just because it's touching the line there, thereabouts. Got lots of volume on the right side, which is nice. 50 minute average is just there, so you could wait for maybe a sharp pullback, like say for example tomorrow, it pulled back to 1440-ish, which is not far.
Okay.
Very easily done. So you can then have a stop loss down below this most recent low here. But yeah, and then obviously if it do get a bit of a positive price action, maybe up to kind of 15, 16, bring that stop loss up to break even pretty much straight away, especially with the volatility going into earnings.
Oh, makes
But yeah, I won't be trading this one. It's
next.
not really aligning for me perfectly with all my indicators. So
Next is FOUR.
what's this?
This I believe is also a fintech. Let me double check.
So we've also done TA on this in the past.
It's a transaction and payment processing service. It's based out of Pennsylvania.
It doesn't look good from
Um,
a TA version because we've got the gap down here, which it seems to have almost filled. We've broken the lows of April, which is never a good sign in a bull market. We've broken this trend line as well, and obviously the moving averages are all above it. I mean, unless you think this company's going to change the world in 3, 4 years' time, then don't think it's worth getting into. I'm sorry if that disappoints you, Elyashiv. That's how you pronounce the name. Sorry if I butchered that. But yeah,
I mean, it does have a high short interest, so maybe if you are playing for that short squeeze, that could be a play. But yeah, it's okay. Next up is Zeta.
see, a lot of people are talking about this for. I still have yet to actually do any sort of research into the company, like official research. I've just been trading it every now and then. But a lot of people are talking about this for the long term.
It's a marketing platform which analyzes billions of structured and unstructured data to predict consumer intent by leveraging, you know, blah 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 blah. Okay, so it's a marketing platform basically, and it gives you, maybe those insights on how to position your marketing initiatives. I guess that would be the best way to put it, I guess.
Does it use AI for that?
Most likely, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't see it I don't see it listed in the company profile, but I think everything is nowadays AI. Because if you're not using AI, then you're definitely going to be far behind, right?
Of course, I've written it down on my watch list to actually do some research into it because I keep meaning to, but I just keep forgetting. To be honest. Yeah, you
Okay.
hear that?
Yeah, that's a bell.
Yeah, that's my door, my front door. All right, my wife will get it.
Uh,
What's next?
CHYM. I think it's CHYM. That's also a.
CHYM Financial. This one's gone nothing but down. And do you know what? We've drawn a trend-based Fibonacci to the downside, and it seems to have respected that quite nicely. So you can see that the TA that we do does work every now and then. So of course we drew it from the highs down to the most recent low, and again to the high, and it populates these lines for you. If you don't know anything about it, I do have a video on it on my channel. It's called trend-based Fibonacci. It's fairly easy to kind of do analysis with, but of course you can see it's kind of trended down, used the 20-moving average and these levels as well, which is also populated, and it suggests that perhaps maybe the next level is down all the way down to 1176, which you can't see because we're in the way. There you go, 1176. So
That's
if
a
you're
big
short
drop.
this,
That's a
yeah,
big.
if you were short when we draw this first time, then congratulations, you did better than us. But yeah, a good example for why are they doing so bad? They must be losing money here, there, and everywhere.
I it's look, listen, from a fintech standpoint, there's just a lot more competition. It's a pretty competitive area. Let's look at their earnings. Why they're down? Well, they missed their EPS massively by 3.43. They did beat their revenue, so it's not just earnings. I wonder why that's the case. Zero profit conditions, improving growth without path. So I think that's the narrative, right? They seems like they don't have a path to profitability, even though they are growing as a company. So
It's interesting. Maybe one to keep an eye on. If they do get a past profitability, then you might get a bigger move than you expect,
yeah, listen.
potentially. So maybe
The the stock could go down below $10, right? And down few quarters later, if they come up with a plan to profitability that they'll get profitable in 27, 28, 29, the stock could go, and these are the asymmetrical bets that you are basically keeping these small caps that are completely beaten down, and then eventually they get
they
profitable.
rise.
And
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on to NVO.
maybe Nordisk. I'll let you talk about this one.
Who, me? Man, I
Yeah,
don't.
is it up your wheelhouse or not?
No, it's
What
a
is it?
healthcare, it's a pharmaceutical, right?
Oh
And
right, I thought it was something else.
yeah, it's a pharmaceutical. Let's see what's going on in this. First of all, for Novo, I think isn't Ozempic their drug? I don't know. Maybe not.
Potentially, are they actually in? They're not in this country, are they? 'Cause it's so gappy. They must be trading on different stock
Is
market.
it's based out of Europe for sure. Let's see where it is from.
Yeah, just a little tip for everyone watching as well. If you see so many gaps in a chart, it's probably not American.
Yeah, so they are based out of Denmark. It's a Danish company. It's a pretty big company from in the pharmaceutical space, and this is just pretty bad because as they will say, the trend is your friend, which means that there's a current downtrend, um, which is happening. Um,
Yeah,
so
I mean, the trend is not your friend with this one.
yeah. The trend is
Um,
your friend. You stay away from it until you see a reversal, right? I mean, we don't trade healthcare stocks, but healthcare is kind of sort of like pharmaceutical in general right now is under stress in healthcare as well. Um, so I mean, I would hold on, wait for the trend to reverse before adding, or unless you are sitting at 120 $30 cost basis and the stock is down $49, then you can definitely go ahead and add, right? So
That's
it
right.
depends on your condition, because we don't know, right? Everybody's situation is different. If you bought it at a much higher cost basis and you're sitting at a 30-40% downside, and this is something that you have for a long term, then you basically add. If you're trading, then you should have gotten out with your stop loss to begin with. If you're selling options, you most likely got assigned, or it's in a deep red in the money. So depending on, I don't know what your condition is, or you're looking for to, or if you're looking to enter at these levels, I wouldn't enter at these levels, because they are not even forming a base. They're forming a base and then heading downside. If you remember, something very similar happened with AMD before the breakout happened, but that lasted for a year and a half.
Yeah, definitely. Just so like
But
advanced
again,
money destroyer for a year and a half.
right? Yeah, exactly. And that was in AI. This is in pharmaceutical, completely different industry.
Hmm.
Okay, moving on. R.
One thing I would say on this one, just while we're here, is
Yeah.
the rising relative strength on the weekly chart, which means there is strength there. So people are interested. But yeah, we'll move on. What was it you said?
Uh, R. Yeah. I think they're reporting earnings on Wednesday or Tuesday.
What's happening here? All right, we can go back to the daily.
On 11/5.
So many lines.
Ooh. Was
Yeah, I mean, what did you say it was on Wednesday?
11/5. 11/5.
So I think definitely waiting for earnings on this one for me personally. But look, I like the way where it is. I like the fact it's above the moving averages, all three of them, in fact. It's above this trend line, which we've obviously drawn since January of this year, coming across lots of tops here, breaking through it, coming back down, retesting it, and moving a little bit higher, although a little bit choppy. But I
Yeah.
would like to see the earnings report first and see the kind of guidance, perhaps for the future quarters ahead, and then maybe judge from there on outwards. But it's not really a name I trade. I used to trade it when it first came on the market, but of course since then it's not really been that appealing for me at least.
Yeah. I mean, remember the time when NVIDIA was planning to buy out ARM? That was, and then,
Oh, really?
yeah, it was planning to buy out ARM. And then I think whichever government agency controls, oversees the mergers, they basically declined it. So ended up not buying out ARM. So then ARM went to the IPO, and then they IPO'd at in the US.
Awesome. Right, so we've got a few minutes left. I think we've got a few. No, oh no, that's it, isn't
We
it?
have one more request left. CCCX.
If you want to nip one more in, we'll take one more if you can get it in the chat. But you have to do it in the next minute. Okay, CCX. I think this one came up actually a few weeks ago, didn't it? Which is
Yeah,
why I've drawn a line here.
yeah, I think it did.
So it's currently a $19 stock. What's the short interest on this? Okay,
Short interest is 0.55, less than 1%.
Oh, okay. It's just choppy for no reason then.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't even know where to start now because obviously it broke out of this line I've just had really nicely, all the way up to kind of $24, which you definitely could not have predicted to get up there. To come back down since maybe the 20-week average is here now. Yeah, it's one that I probably wouldn't trade at all. There's not enough data on the screen. It's really volatile. I mean, this candle goes down to 14, and then it went straight back up to 24. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy. We've got a last ticker from Money Manager. Who else? We'll go to SOFI. Unless you have any words on CCCX.
No,
No?
it's crazy. The move on CCX, right? CCX.
Especially no short interest as well. I mean, that's crazy. It might be a leverage position, perhaps. Those sort of tickers can be leveraged. But yeah, we've got
So,
SOFI on the screen here. I'll let you talk about this one because this is
man, I
your
have
baby.
not traded. I completely lost track of.
Really? Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I have. I completely, once it broke out, I just moved on to the AI trade. I just
Yeah.
stopped trading these guys altogether, both Hood and SoFi. But amazing results, honestly, on SoFi. It's like the way they are breaking out, and the way they are continuing the momentum. Is just, I think if you have an exposure to SoFi, it's definitely for a long term. I will definitely build out on the long term. not at these levels though. I would definitely want it to pull back a little bit, at least to the levels of the 50 SMA, where 27, 28, maybe 25 is where I would like to add for long term. But I mean, congratulations to all the SOFI investors and traders. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's been an absolute tear, isn't it? Even if you bought on the April lows, hypothetically, I mean that's an incredible return. 862 it was. I can't even do the maths on that. It's quite an odd number. But up to here is 234%. And of course, you probably wouldn't have bought there because who buys there? So you probably would have bought above the kind of moving averages. But even if you did that, a really handsome 134%. Incredible return for SoFi investors. If you're in the position and you're doing quite well, I mean, don't be afraid to take some profits. But of course, if a company with so much kind of future and kind of bright future ahead of it, then of course you do kind of expect it to carry on this momentum on the long term, maybe not in the near term, but in the long term, definitely I would hold on to those shares. Unfortunately, I don't have any shares, which is a bit of a shame. Yeah, right. Okay, we'll take, because we're really nice, and you've got a couple of minutes, haven't you, Kaye?
Yeah, I have time. Yes.
We'll do snow. We'll do snow because Money Manager's here every week, and we really appreciate that, and we're going to give you some thoughts on snow, and actually it's Kaye's stock again, essentially. So
Yeah,
go for it.
as I said, Snow, that was the pick for 2025. I mean, there are other stocks that have done very well, but this was something that we got 78% return on this investment when we called out at the start of the year. So that itself just shows, if you pick good stocks, you will actually. And then, by the way, Snow also is nowadays, what if you notice, most of the folks that talk about AI and data, they are taking the names of Palantir and Snow in the same sentence. So from a long-term perspective, this is a great play. uh, Unfortunately, even though I called it out, and I did exit my position at around 50-60% profit, so I'm not in a position currently. If I want to enter, I would wait for a pullback around the. I would probably add some of those averages. So around the 255, that was the previous resistance. That's where I will add, or maybe around the 247. Yeah, somewhere around there. I would look to open a position if I wanted to.
So just for context, there's a couple of bubbles there for Kaye's sort of area that he's looking at. For me, I don't really trade the stocks. I'll leave that there. I think we've had enough there. But congratulations on the people that have held this for the year. I've just done that line for the year, and that's 75%. So that's a pretty good year for any stock, not just Snowflake. Right, we'll end it there. You're very, very welcome, Money Manage. I'll get this come out on the screen there. We really appreciate your constant appearances every week. Unfortunately, we're going to be away for a few weeks now. I'm away next weekend. I'm in Malta, and then Kaye's away in various countries. So yeah,
Yes, I'll be on a tour for to the East Asia. So I'll be away for a good 3 weeks.
yeah. So we'll try and get some sort of content out, whether it's normal time, 1 p.m. Eastern time on the Sundays. Why not? But we'll try and get something out of those sort of times. We'll just schedule it pre before that. I don't know what I'm even talking about now. So make sure you subscribe to the Trader Weekly on YouTube if you are watching that on already. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. We really do appreciate it, of course. And a massive thank you to Wolf once again for letting us use the platform. I had a few issues today with the kind of chat. I think I logged out and I logged back in. So hopefully that's been okay throughout the whole stream. And I think it should still be running on all the platforms. So yeah, any final words before we run out the week?
So just to wrap it up on the break that we are taking, so we will be off next week to the next couple of weeks as well. We will be back, by the way, in December first week. So we will be back doing this whole show again. For the November, I think it's going to be pretty interesting. I think as the earnings season starts to wrap up, we will probably start to see, hopefully, the bull run that everybody is hoping and waiting for. So that's the plan.
That famous Santa rally, yeah, for sure. Obviously, we are going to be away for 4 weeks or so make sure you follow us. I'm at SeanTrades _ on X and YouTube, and the same for Kaye, which is at InvestCave on X and YouTube as well. Just one final thing here. We've got a comment here from No One. Hello, can we please see the ARM chart, please? We probably did that about 10 minutes ago, so just rewind on the stream
Yeah.
whether you're on X or YouTube. So I think it's about 10-ish minutes ago, something like that. You'll scroll through, you'll see it. And obviously, one last comment there from Money Manager. Love your content. We love your appearance. So yeah, keep coming back, and we'll be here in about 4 weeks' time for a very special Christmas period.
Yes.
We've got a few ideas up our sleeve, which we're
Yes.
ready to kind of release as well. So take care, everyone. Trade safe, and see you soon, Kaye.
See you soon. Take care.